The Galactic Empire ruled the stars with an iron grip. Their warships were immense, their armies unstoppable, and their technology beyond compare. They saw themselves as invincible, the undisputed masters of the galaxy. No one dared to challenge them, until now. On a quiet Earth colony called New Hope, life was simple. The people were farmers, teachers, and builders. They had no weapons, no army, and no desire for war. Yet, they cherished freedom and justice above all else. When the Empire arrived, they came with a display of dominance. Their warships loomed overhead, casting dark shadows over the peaceful settlement. From the bridge of his command ship, General Korth observed the colony below with disdain. Clad in a stark uniform adorned with gleaming metals, his expression was cold and unyielding. "They dare to protest," he scoffed, his voice laced with contempt. "Fools." A young officer beside him hesitated. "Sir, they are unarmed. Just civilians." Korth's eyes narrowed. "Insects. And insects must be crushed before they become a threat." Down on the surface, the people gathered, holding signs of peace, hoping to appeal to the Empire's mercy. But mercy had no place in Korth's heart. He saw their defiance as an affront, an insult to his authority. "Open fire," he ordered, his tone devoid of emotion. The young officer hesitated. "Sir, they have no means to fight back." Korth's face twisted in anger. "Are you questioning me?" "No, sir." The officer gave the command. A rain of energy beams erupted from the warships, scorching the earth, obliterating buildings, and reducing the colony to ruins. The cries of the helpless filled the air, but their voices were soon silenced. Korth watched impassively, seeing only another demonstration of the Empire's might. "Let this serve as a lesson," he declared. "Defy the Empire, and you will share their fate." The Empire's fleet vanished into the stars as swiftly as it had arrived, believing their power to be absolute, their rule unchallenged. They were wrong. Word of the massacre at New Hope spread across the galaxy. The Empire broadcasted its brutality as a warning, but instead of instilling fear, they ignited something far more dangerous: rage. On Earth, grief turned to fury. Parents mourned their children, brothers and sisters wept for their lost kin. But sorrow would not be their only response. The Empire had made a grave miscalculation. Deep in the void of space, a hidden fleet of 500,000 dreadnoughts lay in wait, massive warships forged in secret, equipped with the most advanced technology humanity had ever conceived. They had not been built for conquest, but for protection, for this very moment. In the Grand Hall of the United Earth Council, leaders from every nation gathered. The air was thick with sorrow and resolve. Images of the fallen illuminated the room, frozen in time, forever lost to the Empire's cruelty. Commander Amina stood before them, her expression hard as steel. She was Earth's most brilliant strategist, feared and respected in equal measure. But today, she was more than a commander, she was the voice of justice. "They slaughtered our people," she began, her voice resonating with fury. "Not soldiers. Not rebels. Innocent civilians." A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber. "They thought we would cower," she continued. "That we would bow our heads and accept their tyranny. They were wrong." A senior council member, his eyes heavy with grief, rose from his seat. "They took our children. They must answer for their crimes." Another leader, her voice trembling with emotion, added, "We offered peace. They repaid us with blood." Amina's gaze swept across the room. She saw the same fire in their eyes that burned in her own heart. "They believe themselves untouchable," she said, her voice cold and unwavering. "But they do not understand what they have awakened." A hush fell over the chamber. "For too long, we have remained silent. For too long, we have hidden our strength, choosing peace over war." She turned to the towering screen behind her, which flickered to life, revealing the vast fleet hidden in the darkness of space, 500,000 dreadnoughts, each a titan of war. Their sleek hulls gleamed, bristling with weaponry powerful enough to shatter entire planets. Gasps filled the hall. Some gaped in awe, others in stunned silence. Until now, none had known of this fleet. It was Earth's greatest secret. A weapon of last resort. And now, it would be unleashed. They see us as insects to be crushed, Amina declared. But we will show them the power of humanity. We will make them understand, we are not weak. We are not afraid. We are survivors. And we will not rest until justice is served. A thunderous roar of approval erupted from the council. Fists slammed against tables. Voices rose in unity. The decision was made. Earth would strike back. As Amina left the chamber, her second-in-command, Captain Ryson, fell into step beside her. "The fleet is ready, Commander," he reported. "Just say the word." Amina's eyes burned with determination. "We move at dawn. Make sure every ship is prepared." Ryson nodded. "And General Korth?" A shadow crossed Amina's face. She thought of New Hope, of the ruined homes, the lifeless bodies of children, the devastation wrought by Korth's arrogance. "He will learn what it means to cross humanity," she said, her voice as cold as the void. "And when we're done, the Empire will never forget. He had caused so much destruction." "Leave him to me," she said, her voice low and dangerous. "He will answer for his crimes." Rice met her gaze, seeing the pain and fury behind her eyes. He knew better than to argue. "Understood, Commander." As they walked toward the command center, the stars shimmered outside the window, oblivious to the storm about to be unleashed. The Empire believed itself untouchable, safe beyond Earth's reach. But that illusion was about to be shattered. They had awakened humanity's wrath, and nothing would stand in the way of Earth's vengeance. The silence of space broke as Earth's hidden fleet came to life. One by one, 500,000 dreadnoughts powered up, their engines roaring to life. These were not just warships, they were floating fortresses, armed with weapons capable of reducing moons to rubble. Their dark hulls gleamed under distant stars, reflecting the cold resolve of the men and women who commanded them. On the bridge of the flagship, ESS Vengeance, Commander Amina stood tall, her eyes locked on the massive display before her. It showed the vastness of space, stars twinkling like diamonds. But her focus was on a single target, the Empire's capital world, Tyrion Prime. Captain Rice approached, his expression tense. "All ships report ready, Commander. The fleet awaits your orders." Amina's face remained calm, though fire burned in her eyes. "Good. Set course for Tyrion Prime, maximum speed." The bridge crew moved swiftly, fingers gliding over control panels. The deep hum of engines filled the ship as the massive fleet advanced across the galaxy. Rice glanced at Amina, concern flickering in his eyes. "Do you think we're ready for this? The Empire is powerful. They are ruthless." Amina's jaw tightened. "They showed us no mercy. They slaughtered our people without hesitation. They must learn that actions have consequences." She turned to Rice, her voice cold as steel. "This isn't just about revenge. This is about justice, for every life they destroyed." Rice nodded, respect clear in his gaze. "Understood, Commander." Moving in absolute silence, Earth's fleet remained undetected by the Empire's sensors. For centuries, humanity had perfected stealth technology, concealing their true strength. They had prepared for this moment, knowing one day they would need to rise against a far greater threat. Inside the Imperial Palace on Tyrion Prime, General Korth basked in his supposed victory. He stood in a lavish hall, surrounded by officers and nobles who praised his might. "They were nothing more than insects," Korth boasted, his voice echoing through the chamber. "Weak, foolish. They dared to defy us, and now they are nothing but ashes." Laughter erupted from the gathered elites, their faces twisted with cruel delight. They had watched the destruction of New Hope with amusement, reveling in the suffering of those they deemed inferior. Raising his glass, Korth sneered. "Let this be a lesson to all who challenge the Empire, none can stand against us." Even as he spoke, his words were carried away by the cold winds of space, the same winds that carried Earth's fleet ever closer to his doorstep. Aboard the ESS Vengeance, Amina observed live feeds from spy drones orbiting Tyrion Prime. She saw Korth laughing, his officers drinking to their cruelty. Her fists clenched, anger seething within her. "They celebrate the massacre of our people," she whispered, voice shaking with rage. "They have no honor. No soul." Rice watched alongside her, his expression darkening. "They think they're invincible. They have no idea what's coming." Amina's eyes turned to ice. "They will soon learn." She turned to her crew, her voice cold and commanding. "Jam their communications. Isolate them. No warnings. No chance to call for help." "Yes, Commander," the communications officer responded, fingers moving swiftly across the controls. Below, on Tyrion Prime, the celebrations continued. Fireworks lit up the sky, music filled the air, and laughter rang through the streets. The people danced, blissfully unaware that above them, the shadows of 500,000 dreadnoughts stretched across the void. Amina faced the massive display, her expression resolute. "Open a channel to the fleet." The screen flickered to life, showing the faces of Earth's greatest warriors, commanders, admirals, captains, all looking to her for leadership. Her voice was strong, unwavering. "We fight not for revenge, but for justice. For the innocent lives they destroyed. For our fallen brothers and sisters. The Empire believes they can kill without consequence. They think themselves gods." Her gaze hardened. "Today, we prove them wrong." Across the fleet, fists clenched. Jaws tightened. They were ready. Amina took a breath, her determination unshaken. "We will rain fire upon their world. We will shatter their illusion of power. We will show them the true strength of humanity." Her voice dropped to a whisper like a blade slicing through steel. "We are Earth. We do not forgive. We do not forget. And we do not back down." A roar erupted across the comm channels. They were prepared to fight. Ready to avenge their dead. Amina's gaze locked onto the image of Tyrion Prime, her voice calm and cold. "All ships, prepare for assault. On my command, we bring justice." The stars trembled as the dreadnoughts powered their weapons. Energy surged through their colossal cannons. The night sky above Tyrion Prime, once peaceful and bright, would soon be consumed by fire. The Empire had reveled in its cruelty, blind to the fury it had provoked. That blindness was about to be torn away. Earth was coming, and they were bringing hell with them. Inside the Imperial Palace, the nobles and officers drank to their victory, believing their dominion eternal. General Korth's voice echoed through the hall. "The galaxy belongs to us. No one can challenge the might of the Empire." Admiral Voss, his face flushed with wine, laughed. "To the Empire. To victory." The room erupted with cheers, oblivious to the doom above them. Aboard the ESS Vengeance, Amina's gaze was locked on the display. The enemy's laughter rang in her ears, but she felt nothing. No hesitation. No mercy. "Transmit the final order to all ships," she commanded. "Prepare to fire." Across the fleet, engines roared to full power, dreadnoughts positioning themselves. Their cannons glowed with lethal energy. Amina exhaled slowly, her gaze never wavering from the image of General Korth. "He thinks himself a god. Let's show him what happens when gods bleed." Rice's expression was fierce, his voice steady. "The Empire will learn the price of its arrogance." Amina's voice was ice-cold. "Fire." Beams of destruction lanced through the void, tearing toward the Imperial Palace. The night sky above Tyrion Prime exploded in light as death rained down. Celebrations turned to screams. The ground quaked. Towers crumbled. Nobles and officers fled in terror. Korth's laughter was silenced as the ceiling collapsed, the world he had built turning to ruin. Amina watched the flames consume the city below, her heart cold. There was no joy in her eyes, only grim satisfaction. Rice stood beside her, voice quiet. "It's done." Amina nodded, still staring at the burning capital. They thought they were untouchable. Today, they learned the truth. Earth's dreadnoughts hovered above Tyrion Prime, their immense presence casting an ominous shadow over the once mighty capital of the Galactic Empire. The Empire had mocked them, underestimated them. Now, they faced Earth's wrath, with no escape in sight. Tyrion Prime was in chaos. The grand capital, once a symbol of power and arrogance, lay in ruins. Towering spires that had reached toward the heavens crumbled under the relentless bombardment of Earth's fleet. The night sky was shattered by the blinding beams of destruction that tore through the city with terrifying precision. Explosions echoed through the streets, their fiery glow reflecting off the once golden palace walls. Panicked citizens fled, their faces twisted in terror, their screams filling the air. Inside the imperial palace, General Korth struggled to his feet, blood trickling down his forehead from a deep gash. The grand hall, once filled with laughter and celebration, had become a scene of devastation. Shattered crystal chandeliers lay strewn across the marble floor, golden tapestries burned, their flames licking the ceiling. He looked around, his mind reeling in disbelief. Moments ago, he had been celebrating Earth's supposed defeat, boasting of his victory. Now, his empire was crumbling before his eyes. Admiral Voss staggered toward him, his face pale with shock. "General, our defenses, they didn't even react. It's as if they never saw the enemy coming." Korth's eyes widened in fury and confusion. "Impossible. Our scanners are the most advanced in the galaxy. How did they breach our defenses?" Voss shook his head, fear evident in his voice. "They're not showing up on any of our sensors. It's like they're ghosts." Korth's fists clenched, his pride wounded. Earth was supposed to be weak, insignificant. He slammed his hand against the shattered table, the wood splintering under his strength. How could they possess such power? Outside, the bombardment intensified. Earth's dreadnoughts moved in perfect formation, their weapons methodically targeting military installations, communication hubs, and power plants. This wasn't just an attack, it was the systematic dismantling of an empire. Aboard the ESS Vengeance, Commander Amina watched the destruction unfold on the holographic display. Her face remained expressionless, her gaze unblinking. She took no pleasure in the devastation, but she felt no pity either. The Empire had brought this upon itself. Captain Reyes stood beside her, arms crossed as he observed the attack. Their defenses are crumbling. They never expected an assault like this. Amina's lips pressed into a thin line. Their arrogance blinded them. They believed themselves untouchable. She paused, her voice hardening. They thought they could slaughter children and face no consequences. Rhea's eyes darkened with fury. New Hope was a peaceful colony. They had no weapons, no means to defend themselves. And yet the Empire butchered them. Amina nodded, her expression resolute. They showed no mercy. We will return the favor. She turned to the weapons officer. Target their military command centers. Eliminate their ability to retaliate. The officer complied without hesitation. Targets locked. Firing now. Beams of energy rained down on Tyrion Prime, striking command centers with pinpoint accuracy. Massive explosions erupted across the city, lighting up the night sky. The Empire's strategic nerve centers crumbled one by one. Deep within the palace's underground bunker, Korth's eyes widened in horror as the communication screens went dark. His hands trembled as he slammed his fists onto the control panel. What is happening? Why can't we contact our fleets? Admiral Voss's voice was barely above a whisper. They're jamming all our signals. We're completely cut off. Korth's face contorted with rage. No! I am Enel Korth, the Empire's greatest warrior. I will not be defeated by primitives. He turned to his guards. Prepare my ship. We will fight them ourselves if we must. Before his orders could be carried out, another explosion shook the bunker. Dust rained from the ceiling as the ground trembled. The lights flickered. Voss' face was ashen. They've targeted our escape routes. We're trapped. The weight of the situation crushed Korth's pride. Earth's fleet wasn't just powerful, they were methodical, ruthless, and efficient. They weren't merely attacking the Empire, they were dismantling it, piece by piece. Back aboard the ESS Vengeance, Amina observed the palace's defenses collapse. Her voice was steady, unyielding. They thought Earth would stay silent. They were wrong. Captain Reyes nodded, his voice filled with resolve. They slaughtered innocents and believed there would be no retribution. Amina's eyes were cold, her heart hardened by the memory of New Hope's destruction. We are that retribution. She turned to her communications officer. Broadcast our message to all Imperial channels. Let them understand why this is happening. The officer nodded and activated the transmission. Amina's voice echoed across Tyrion Prime, reaching every corner of the Empire. Her tone was devoid of emotion, yet carried the weight of justice. This is Commander Amina of Earth's fleet. You massacred our children. You showed no mercy. Now, Earth has come to collect justice. Her message spread like wildfire. Across the Empire, citizens listened in horror, their faces pale as they realized the reason behind the devastation. The cruelty of the Empire had returned to haunt them. In the bunker, Korth's face drained of color as Amina's words reverberated through the speakers. He stumbled back, his confidence shattered. No, it can't be. But there was no escaping the truth. Earth's wrath had been unleashed. The Empire could no longer hide behind its arrogance. The ground beneath Tyrion Prime shook once more as another wave of destruction descended from the heavens. Earth's dreadnoughts pressed their relentless assault, their fury unyielding. Commander Amina stood firm, her gaze cold as she watched the Empire fall. They thought Earth was weak. They believed themselves invincible. Her voice remained calm, filled with unwavering determination. Today, they learned the cost of their arrogance. Captain Reyes nodded grimly. And the galaxy will never forget. Earth's vengeance was far from over. The Empire's nightmare had just begun. As the energy beams streaked across the holoscreen, she observed with an unwavering gaze. They're deploying their planet killers, she noted, her voice cold and steady. Captain Rice's jaw clenched. Those weapons can vaporize entire fleets. Activate the Aegis shields, Amina commanded. Full power. The Earth dreadnoughts responded instantly. Their hulls glowed with an intense blue light as impenetrable energy barriers formed around them. The Dreadstorm cannons struck with devastating force, space itself rippling from the impact. But as the light faded, the Earth dreadnoughts remained unscathed, their shields had absorbed the attack without a scratch. Korth's face turned pale as he watched in disbelief. Impossible, nothing can withstand the Dreadstorm cannons. Admiral Voss's voice trembled. Their technology is beyond anything we've ever encountered. They're untouchable. KTH's pride wavered, but his fury burned hotter. I don't care what it takes, launch everything. I want them destroyed. From the Empire's hangars, squadrons of fighters roared into battle, a swarm of ships racing toward the Earth fleet. Missiles filled the void, energy beams lancing through the darkness, all aimed at the dreadnoughts. But Earth's fleet moved with lethal precision. Their targeting systems were flawless, their coordination impeccable. Point defense cannons erupted to life, intercepting the missiles before they could close the distance. Earth's interceptors engaged the Imperial fighters, their sleek designs outmaneuvering the enemy with ease. Aboard the ESS Vengeance, Commander Amina watched with a cold, calculating stare. They're desperate, Captain Rice observed. Throwing everything they have. Amina's expression remained unchanged. And they're only digging their own graves. They never stood a chance. She turned to the weapons officer. Focus fire on their Dreadstorm cannons. Neutralize them before they can recharge. The order was carried out with ruthless efficiency. Coordinated energy barrages erupted from the Earth dreadnoughts, striking the massive turrets on Tyrion Prime's surface. Explosions consumed the planet's defenses, fireballs sending shockwaves that devastated buildings for miles. Inside the war room, Korf stumbled as the floor trembled beneath him. He looked at the holoscreen, his heart sinking as his most formidable weapons were obliterated. No, this can't be. His voice was weak, his arrogance shattered. We are the Empire. We can't lose, he gasped. Admiral Voss's face was ashen. We already have, General. They've broken through our last line of defense. KTH's knees buckled, and he collapsed against the table. His empire, once supreme, was unraveling before his eyes, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. Above Tyrion Prime, the Earth Dreadnoughts held formation, their cannons glowing ominously as they prepared for the final strike. Commander Amina's voice was calm, unwavering. They wanted war. They wanted blood. Her eyes were like ice. They took our children. Now they will face the wrath of Earth. Captain Rice's expression was grim. They thought we were weak. That we wouldn't fight back. Amina's voice was resolute. They were wrong. Fire. A rain of destruction descended upon Tyrion Prime. The ground convulsed as the planet's surface was torn apart, cities reduced to dust. The once mighty capital of the Galactic Empire ceased to exist in an instant. In the war room, Korf closed his eyes as the palace collapsed around him. His final thoughts were filled with regret and fear. He had underestimated Earth. Mocked their strength. And now, his arrogance had cost him everything. The transmission went silent as the Imperial Palace was buried beneath the ruins of its own pride. Commander Amina watched from the bridge of the ESS Vengeance, her gaze locked onto the burning planet below. The bridge was silent, the crew watching in solemn respect. Captain Rice approached. It's done, he said quietly. Tyrion Prime has fallen. The Empire's power is broken. Amina's expression remained unreadable. They killed our children. They thought Earth would remain silent. Her voice was sharp, her fury barely contained. They were wrong. Rice nodded. The galaxy was watching today. They saw Earth's power. They saw what happens to those who harm us. Amina turned to the communications officer. Open a channel. I want every corner of this galaxy to hear Earth's voice. The officer's fingers moved over the console. Channel open, Commander. Every major network is linked. They're all listening. Amina stepped forward, her image broadcast across the galaxy. Her voice was calm, but her words carried the weight of a reckoning. This is Commander Amina of Earth's fleet. Today, the Galactic Empire has fallen. They thought Earth was weak. That we would cower. Her eyes narrowed. They were wrong. She paused, her piercing gaze unyielding. They took an innocent child's life. They believed their power made them untouchable. That Earth would bow before them. Her voice grew colder. They miscalculated. We came for justice. We came for retribution. And we will continue to come for any who dare harm Earth or its people. Across the galaxy, leaders watched in silence. Civilizations that once dismissed Earth's significance now trembled at the sight of the Dreadnoughts. Amina's voice was unwavering. Let this be a warning. Earth does not seek conquest. We do not seek domination. But we will not tolerate cruelty. We will not tolerate injustice. Her eyes were like steel. You will leave Earth in peace. You will respect our people. Or you will share the Empire's fate. She turned to the communication officer. End transmission. Across the galaxy, screens went dark, but the message remained seared in the minds of all who had watched. Fear rippled through the Galactic Council. The political landscape was forever altered. Imperial allies distanced themselves, terrified of Earth's wrath. The Empire's enemies, once scattered, now saw a new power rising. Aboard the ESS Vengeance, Captain Rice exhaled slowly. The galaxy will never look at Earth the same way again. Amina's gaze was steady. Good. Let them remember this day. Let them remember what happens when you harm an innocent child of Earth. Rice's voice softened. What about the survivors? The civilians? For the first time, Amina's expression shifted. We are not monsters. Deploy humanitarian aid. Let them see the difference between Earth's justice and the Empire's cruelty. Rice nodded, relief washing over him. Yes, Commander. The Dreadnoughts adjusted their formation. Some descended toward the devastated world to provide aid and restore order. Earth's power was unmatched, but its humanity remained intact. As the fleet moved away from Tyrion Prime, whispers spread across the stars, of Earth's justice, of a force that could not be challenged, of a people who defended their own with unmatched fury and unwavering compassion. Earth had spoken. And the galaxy would never forget.